Hey, it's Stu Peters and Richard Leonard. Happy Hump Day to everybody out there. Yes, it is Wednesday. We're approaching Halloween. I mean, we're approaching the general election. November 3rd is coming upon us. The streets are crazy. The police are under attack, and we know that you support the police. And we know that you like coffee. And if you don't, I'm sorry, I just don't know. I don't know what else to say. Maybe somebody in your family likes coffee and you support the blue. There you go. How about go to lawdogcoffeepcradio.com, because Law Dog Coffee is the official company of the support for the Wounded Blue. Over 6,000 documented families have been supported by Law Dog Coffee. They have great coffee, and it goes to a great cause. A portion of the proceeds from every purchase of any bag of Law Dog Coffee or any apparel that is found over there at that website goes to support the Wounded Blue. They do canine programs, things to service dogs, things like that. You like good coffee, you want to support the cops, you want to show your undying loyalty to law enforcement in this country. Before we start the show here today, I just wanted to tell you, get over there, lawdogcoffeepcradio.com, lawdogcoffeepcradio.com. That's lawdogcoffeepcradio.com. 10% off when you use the code PCRadio.
Broadcasting live from the highest cloud of privileged patriotism. The PC Radio Show is on Mojo 50 Radio.
Welcome into the show here on this Wednesday afternoon, October 21st, 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, broadcasting live on Cloud Hub. We are all over social media as long as Facebook will allow us to be there. The Patriotically Correct Radio Show page. Also on the OpsLens app, Mojo 50 Radio, iHeartRadio, Twitter, anywhere that you get a podcast, anywhere that you download your podcasts. You can find the Patriotically Correct Radio Show. Please tell your friends about us if you have not already. But yes, Richard, we have clout.
Yes, we do have the Cloud Hub.
Broadcasting live on channel 200 over there, and I want to start this today's show with a little bit of sad news. Our event, the event down in Waldorf, Minnesota, has been canceled due to some medical issues that somebody is having. I'm not going to go into detail on that because I don't know how much somebody wants to be sharing that stuff here, in the public. But I will say that our prayers are with him, and that is the most important thing here. We can elect Donald Trump president, and we can deal with the civil unrest and the discourse and the things like that are going to happen. We can have a victory party for crying out loud. But the event on this Sunday, the 25th, in Waldorf, Minnesota, at JR's Barn, the We the People rally, as of right now, has been canceled. So if you were planning on going, we appreciate that, and we definitely were looking forward to seeing everybody. But you know what? Somebody's health is always a whole lot more important than anything to do with politics or presidential elections or anything like that. And so we just wish him the best, and we're going to be praying for you, and we have you in our thoughts and prayers. The whole PC Radio Relentless Truth Seeker Squad has you in their prayers, and best wishes to you. I just keep us posted too, by the way, on the health medical conditions, because as we all know, all we have is our health, and our souls and our spirit and our fight. So keep the fight in you, bro, and stay strong. So Richard, that's a little bit of sad news here, but we will get past it. And we, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, the most important thing is the health. So we want to wish him again. One more time, our best wishes and prayers. Jill Biden she was on my favorite show, The View, and she was talking to these wenches about about the presidential debate and about the quote unquote attacks that the president is unleashing on the Bidens, specifically her husband and her son. And she had some pretty interesting things to say. So let's just see how this question was framed and how she answered it.
Dr. Biden, your husband showed remarkable restraint that night when Trump repeatedly attacked your son and disrespected your family. And I've spent a little bit of time with you, and I know how important your family is to you, and I know how protective you are over them. Now, he continued those attacks at rallies, encouraging the crowd to lock Joe up. And on Monday, he claimed that there's some sort of story on the way about a scandal involving your family that will, quote, make him almost an impotent candidate.
All right, and you know what? Here's the situation. I just want to address something here, and this is why I'm so sick of bitches like this framing questions like that in the mainstream media, because First of all, during the first debate, we've covered this on this show ad nauseum. He wasn't attacking anybody. He was defending himself from relentless attacks that have been happening to him since he came down that escalator. Not only him, but his family as well. Why don't these hoes over here on The View talk about the fact that Barron Trump has been attacked, Eric Trump has been attacked, Ivanka Trump has been attacked. Donald Trump Jr. has been attacked. The First Lady was attacked after she gave a speech at the Republican National Convention when she was attacked on Twitter by the Hollywood elite little bitches about how she can't even speak English yet. So let's get one thing straight here. Those are attacks. What happened during the debate was Donald Trump protecting and defending himself and his family against those relentless attacks and the relentless lies that are constantly portrayed in the mainstream media about him with the corrupt fake news journalists. And he points them out all the time. We played it on the show yesterday about him calling CNN a bunch of bastards. Well, you know what? He's not wrong. They are. And they are intentionally covering this up. And I'm going to just tell you something. Well, you know what? Let's just let this spectacle continue here, and we'll see how she answers this question.
How do you feel about these constant personal attacks, and how do you respond to them?
Oh, Jesus.
You know, as a mother, I mean, I don't like to see my son attacked, and certainly I don't like to see my husband attacked. But to me, these are distractions. I mean, this election is not about Joe Biden or Jill Biden or Kamala or Doug. It is about the American people.
Who's Doug?
The American people don't want to hear these smears against my family. The American people are struggling right now.
Okay, well, first of all, the American people do want to hear about it. At least I do. I would like to know if the former vice president is compromised. And as far as I can tell, he is. And, you know, here's the other situation, is if he's compromised because his son is compromised, then he owes something to China. Do we want a president in our representing our country, the most powerful person in the free world, compromised by our adversaries? You really got to ask yourself that. And if you don't believe that he's compromised, take a look at this picture right here. These are pictures that are obtained by the New York Post that have not been dated but are definitely verified. This is a picture of Joe Biden as the vice president in the Oval Office, standing there shaking hands with the business partner of his son. And if that doesn't do it, how about this one? There he is with the business partners of his son and his puke little dirty greaseball son, his crackhead meth-smoking son, taking nude pictures and who is now under investigation by the FBI's child pornography unit. Okay, how about this one? If that doesn't do it for you, how about this? How about them golfing, okay, or standing out here on the golf course with Hunter Biden's business partners from Kazakhstan? Okay, these are. I mean, I can't make this up. How about this one? Here's the president of the United States in the Oval Office with Hunter Biden's business partners and the vice president in the Oval Office. Okay, so I mean, listen. To try to tell me that this is just the American people don't want to hear about this, Richard, you're an American voter. You serve this country. This is a compromised president whose son received millions of dollars. We know that for a fact from Ukraine, from Russia, and now from China. There's a laptop out there that is absolutely 1,000% under investigation, and the media won't touch it. The media just won't cover it. Do you want to hear about it?
Of course. Of course I want to hear about it, and so does everybody else. And let's not be mistaken. If everything's equal at this point right now, but the roles were flipped, and it was Mr. Trump's son that had a laptop that was left at a computer repair shop, of course the whole world would want to know about it, and the attacks on him and his family would continue. Just a barrage of bullshit would continue on Donald Trump. So I don't understand what she's talking about. Of course, the American people want to hear about it. They should hear about it. They deserve to hear about it. So shut the hell up and quit trying to defend the treachery.
At the risk of our 12 listeners going away and our ratings just absolutely plummeting, I do want to finish here and see how she. This is the first time I've viewed this.
I mean, they're in the midst of all this chaos. They're trying to figure out how to put food on the table. They don't have jobs. They need health care. Americans don't want to hear this. And that's why I thought Joe did such a great job at the debate, because he addressed the issues. He talked directly to the...
I have a plan. That's what Joe Biden keeps saying. I've got a plan. But he never wants to say what his plan is other than plagiarism, because he basically takes Trump's COVID response policy on his webpage and plagiarizes everything that the Trump administration has done to combat the coronavirus pandemic. So, I mean, how about Mr. Biden, the guy that stands there and says, the American voter doesn't deserve to know how I feel about packing the court? How about the former vice president not even answering the question about whether or not this is a legitimate story that was unleashed by the New York Post and then got censored by Twitter, censored by Facebook, and stricken? I don't even know how many hundreds or thousands of accounts have been permanently deleted by Facebook and Twitter because people were sharing that story. They have lost their businesses over this thing. We know Ray Dietrich, America's Keepers community, they have lost their entire business to the tune of, I'm going to just tell you, over $50,000 a month they have lost because they shared this story. That's absolutely insane. That is a totalitarian regime. And Twitter and Facebook are not denying the fact that they censored this stuff. And Joe Biden is not denying whether or not this happened. He's just simply calling it a distraction. The American people do deserve to know whether or not your son is compromised and whether or not you are compromised. And the photos are right there. They're right in front of our face. It's very evident that you are compromised. Listen. This media did more digging and more investigative shaming and slandering and defaming of a Supreme Court justice nominee's minor children than they have done on this, than they have done on the former vice president's son, who was compromising our country's national security and who has put his father, the former vice president, while in the Oval Office, in a compromising position for national security as well. And he is now running for president of the United States. They did more digging on Amy Coney Barrett's kids than they have done on this story. That is shameful, and that is corruption at its highest levels. I just cannot believe that this is actually going on in our country, Richard.
What do you think? What do you suppose the threshold is? What is the threshold for the amount of bullshit that investigators and just even us as the general public can find to show the corruption is real, for people to finally admit, oh, holy shit, man, this guy is really into some things that we don't want in the president of the United States? Or is the hate for Donald Trump that thick, that hardcore, that they don't care?
We talked about it yesterday on the show, and we've talked about it before, that the Trump derangement syndrome is so real. And we've said it, we've asked people, hey, give me a reason why you're voting for Biden without mentioning the name Donald Trump. And people cannot do it. And I'm telling you that, listen, what is it going to come to with the media? They've now been, as far as big tech and social media, Twitter and Facebook are now being called down on the carpet by lawmakers in Washington, D.C., who want some answers on behalf of the American citizens and American people who want to know, with 2 weeks leading up to the general election, quite possibly, absolutely, definitively, the most pivotal election in the history of our country, in a fight between communism, fascism, socialism, totalitarianism, and freedom. Your Second Amendment, your First Amendment. Your First Amendment is already gone. You don't have the right to share a story that was investigated by the New York Post with damning evidence, forensic evidence, photographic evidence, without losing your business. You are losing your businesses, losing your memories, losing your photos, losing your social media account because you shared a story with it 2 weeks 2 weeks to go before the most pivotal, most damning election in the history of our world. And let me tell you, if Joe Biden is elected, your Second Amendment is gone. You will have no more guns. Gun confiscation will begin in a heartbeat. Your First Amendment, it's already been proven by the media what's going to happen to your First Amendment, because he's not even the president, and they're already deleting stories. We know that he won't be the president because Nancy Pelosi is already looking at the 25th Amendment to try to get him removed based on health. He's probably going to go to prison, so he won't be in the Oval Office, or it's going to be his health and his dementia. And the same woman that we were just watching on this show with a couch full of bitches who are angry and depressed because they're ugly and they're nasty inside. They're angry people. They're very angry people. And people will say, well, Stu, you look angry. You look really angry right now. No, you know what? Here's what the difference is. I'm not angry. I'm not angry yet. I mean, I am upset. Uh-oh. I'm angry because my friends are losing their businesses. I'm ashamed of our country and the way that the media is. I'm not ashamed of our country. Let me rephrase that. I am ashamed of our media. I'm ashamed of these people who call themselves journalists. I'm ashamed of the way the media has attacked the police. They're putting cops' lives at risk every single day with the way that they perpetuate this false narrative of systemic racism in law enforcement, and it's a complete sham. It's total bullshit, which started with the lie down in Ferguson, hands up, don't shoot. That thug resisted the police. He never put his hands up, and he was shot justifiably by Darren Wilson, who is an American hero, who will never again work, and by the way, not only his life is ruined, but the lives of many, many officers that followed him, even in the most justifiable of situations. And now the media has taken their game to the next level. They are shutting you down. And any American, whether you are pro-Trump or not pro-Trump, should have an absolute problem with that.
The day is coming, my friend. The prediction that I keep making, the tipping point for what our people in this country are going to keep on enduring until they just can't anymore. Whichever one of those is going to come true is coming. I think that we can feel the tension when we walk into the gas station to get a coffee, or you're walking through the grocery store. And 90% of the people in there, if they could shoot daggers from their eyeballs because your mask isn't covering your nose, or if you don't have one on at all, you'd be dead on the floor of the store.
Yes.
And so I don't know, man. I really think that it's coming. The scales are teetering one way or the other. And there's going to be one event, and it's going to all blow up. And you had mentioned your Second Amendment right being taken away from you if Mr. Biden is elected. Well, if that doesn't do it, then I'm completely wrong on all accounts.
Pat Robertson delivered a little prophecy on the Christian News Network the other day. I sent you that video. We're going to play that in the second half. And I'm just warning you that if you're raising kids, this video that we're going to show you is going to put you mentally in a completely different place. And it has directly to do with the actual real effects of this election. And his prophecy, his prediction is that Trump is going to win the election. And there are now, according to the New York Post and several other publications, the same outlets and the same polls that predicted the 2016 Trump election are now predicting a Trump re-election. The polls are tightening. And as you can see in these swing states, even when the mainstream media, who is sucker lying to you, they are absolutely lying to you every single day. It's proven. It is absolutely proven that they're lying to you. Even they are showing polls that have the president and the former vice president really close, like 49 point something to 48 point something. And that's well within the margin of error in all of these states: Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota. I'm telling you that he's going to win this election. There's no question about it. He's going to win this election. What comes after that is going to really be a reckoning. And I'm going to show you that coming up. 50 Cent actually endorsed the president, and it was because of the Biden tax plan. And, here's kind of what I want to say about that. His quote was, "I don't want to be 20 Cent." And that, because he makes over $400,000 a year, he's going to be in that tax bracket that takes, I believe it was 46% of his income away. 46%.
That's nuts.
So here's the deal. A lot of people that are watching this show are saying to themselves, well, who cares? Who really gives a shit? Who cares that 50 Cent endorsed the president and that he doesn't like Biden's tax plan? And I was kind of like that at first, too. I actually jokingly said on our Facebook page, oh, God, yeah, we've been really holding our breath, just wondering who it was that 50 Cent was going to endorse. And now I know. And okay, thank you for making that clear. But, here's the deal, is it does make a difference. Because let me just pose this question to you. You only make $40,000 a year, or maybe $70,000, or maybe you're doing okay for yourself and you're making $100,000 a year. That's a pretty decent wage and it's a pretty decent income. It's not rich by any means like it used to be. I mean, you used to make six figures. You were like really killing it. $400,000 a year is a really nice salary, and I believe that's about what 50 is making now. But he's definitely a multimillionaire. A lot of that stuff in the music business becomes recoupable money. Okay, so a lot of the stuff that he has that you see in his music videos, that's not his shit. That belongs to the record label. That's all for show. I have music videos. I don't own the Polera that Robert De Niro drove in Taxi Driver. We rented that son of a bitch for that video that we shot in New York. But anyways, a lot of that stuff is recoupable. So his houses, his cars, all of those different things belong to the record label, which are then taken back if 50 doesn't produce the sales of the album, or if he doesn't give them their final singles that he owes or anything like that. So anyways, he's not as well off as the music videos may make you think that he is. However, he's done very well for himself, and he's certainly a multimillionaire. But that puts him in this bracket that you cannot relate to. I was talking to somebody the other day who went down to the Fort Lauderdale boat show, and they were looking at these monster yachts. And, these things have helicopter landing pads on them. We've seen them in music videos. They're absolutely ridiculous. You look at that stuff and you go, my God, what did I do wrong? And they belong to these business moguls from Europe, from Eastern Europe, and, all these other things. But you look at this stuff and you go, God, that person just has way too much money. And that's true. That is a lot of money to have. And I could get into who gets paid too much for their jobs: NFL football players, NBA basketball players, Major League Baseball players, NHL hockey players, guys that drive cars around in a circle 500 times. I just don't believe that they deserve to get paid what they get paid or deserve the pedestal and the platform that they have. These people really shouldn't make a difference in your life as far as what their opinion is. For example, the Kardashians and who they're going to vote for. Okay, or who was the other two jackwagons that we saw on here? Jennifer Lopez and A-Rod. They're endorsing Biden. Well, who gives a what? I don't really give a shit. Okay, so anyways, the reason why you should care is because if 50 is in this tax bracket, these major corporations are in this tax bracket as well, Richard. So people like Walmart, people like Home Depot, all the safe places to go during the pandemic.
Yep.
Those places are also going to have these huge corporate taxes placed on them, and it's going to burden them. Their cost of doing business is going to go up by 10 or 12%. Well, how does that affect you? Well, you're a consumer. So do you think that these CEOs and these major corporations and the board of directors and these investors are really sitting back and going, well, that's okay because we needed this. We needed this for our freedom, and we needed this to save our country. And thank God we have a social justice warrior in the White House. And so it's worth us losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year to forego this Biden tax plan. Do you think that that's really what they're saying? Of course it's not. And so if their cost of doing business is going up by 10 or 12%, that is going to get passed on to you. So now, as before, when you were paying $16.99 for a thing of diapers, I don't even know how much diapers cost anymore, but I know that they're outrageously expensive, and that price is going to go up. Not only is it going to go up by the 10 or 12% that is directly going to be affecting these major corporations because of the tax plan that Biden has, but then it's going to go up additional percentages to cover all of the money that they lost that they had to initially pay in order to make their taxes and their quarterly estimates. So this does certainly affect you. So when people like 50 Cent talk, I mean, listen, he's a businessman, okay? He's made a lot of money on convincing the whole world that he's a gangster. He got shot 9 times, and he talked about it on his record. I think he had, in his first album, he had 16 songs that talked about how many times he got shot. And then I think in his second album, he had 14 songs that talked about how many times he got shot. But you know what? I'm not going to hate on the guy because he made millions of dollars. Here's the deal. There's going to be more and more people like 50 Cent that are going to flip over, and in amongst their platform, they are going to outwardly support Donald Trump for re-election, and they are going to not support Joe Biden. And it's not just going to be because of the tax plan, but it's also going to be because of the assault on your freedom. The individual liberties that you have are under attack.
It's the same reason that everybody, all the black community was all up in arms. Ice Cube is working so diligently with the president.
Yeah.
You know,
And
he's trying to better the community for all these kids, and home ownership is at a low, education and blah blah blah. But now he's an asshole because he's working with Donald Trump.
Of course he is. Yes. And he's working with the president very closely on building race bridge relations between, the African American communities and police, and how to go about doing that. I mean, the president actually cares, which is why he's consulting with people like that. Again, if you missed the first part of the show, the event on the 25th, this Sunday, in Waldorf, Minnesota, has been canceled. More mind-blowing stuff, including that video that I was telling you about, coming up in the second half of PC Radio. Coming to you live right now from the Law Dog Coffee Studios. My name is Stu, that's Richard. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back.
We will force votes.
We will not stop.
Any Republican senator is part of the cover-up.
What the f?
Impeachment.
Impeachment.
This is madness!
The PC Radio Show with Stu and Rich. Back in a minute.
Hey, it's Stu Peters for Johnson Jewelers, located in Woodbury, Minnesota, but more importantly, located online worldwide at johnsonjewelers.com. Why is that important to you? Well, because if you have been left behind, or you have discovered a family heirloom or something that's important to you, maybe it's grandma's birthstone, or maybe it's a pendant or a family crest, maybe it's grandpa's ring, but it doesn't quite fit you, or maybe it needs to be restored, or you see something completely different in mind. Why shove that thing in a safety deposit box? Why put it aside or put it in a shadow box or just break it out every once in a while to show the grandkids? Instead, you could wear that with a custom piece of jewelry designed for you, specifically by johnsonjewelers.com. A quick visit to the website, a couple of emails exchanged, and maybe a few phone calls, and you will have that custom piece of jewelry that means something for you. Visit them online, worldwide, johnsonjewelers.com, johnsonjewelers.com. That's johnsonjewelers.com.
Prop 25 ends our right to put up bail for anyone, even though they may have been racially profiled. Prop 25 replaces bail with computer algorithms. Academic studies show that these algorithms are biased. Some call them black boxes. And Prop 25's new bureaucracy delays justice for innocent people stuck in jail. The NAACP asks you to vote no on Proposition 25.
Broadcasting live from the Law Dog Coffee Studios. This is Patriotically Correct Radio. My name is Stu Peters. That's Richard Leonard. Thanks a lot for joining us. To the millions and millions listening live on iHeartRadio, just search the Mojo 50 radio station. If you do have time to view us, you want to look at my ugly ass while I do this radio show, you're more than welcome to do so. We're going to be, you can find us anywhere. But the two places that we would encourage you to go, and when I say encourage, I really mean like I'm fervently encouraging people to go get yourself a CloutHub account. We are on channel 200 over there on CloutHub. There will never be any censoring on CloutHub. You can say whatever you want from whatever side of the aisle that you're on, and the same thing with the OpsLens app. Make sure that you go download those two things. You don't even have to download Cloud Hub. I did. I guess there is an app, but you can do it from your desktop. And I'm telling you, it's a lot more fun to me than Facebook. I didn't have the anxiety that I had when I was using Facebook primarily. And we do still have a Facebook page. Intern Boy uses that thing to kind of promote our shit and keep everything going. And the sale of the coffee is just going absolutely wonderful. Our clothing line, by the way, has been delayed. And we're just kind of running into some bad news here today. And it's 2020. So of course, there's shit's hitting the fan and bad news is falling from the sky, and it's just it's been the year, man. Oh, by the way, I just want to say to my personal friend Jesse McKilsky, rest in peace, sir. Had a close friend of ours pass away here way too young, 35, 36 years old. Passed away in his sleep here the other night, and so. Just our thoughts are with Jesse and his wife. They haven't been married too long, and Jesse's family. Our thoughts are with all of the people from our town because Jesse was well loved. Our thoughts and prayers also with one of the organizers for the We the People rally, which has been canceled this Sunday. And you can't sacrifice your health and well-being for an event like this. And I know that everybody was extremely excited about this. And Joy Villa was going to be there, and Jeremy Munson was going to be there, and CeCe Davis was going to be there, and you and I, and Rocky Stucci, and possibly Jason Lewis. And there was, it was a big what to do. And it really is tough. It's tough to handle that. And the anticipation. Richard and I even ordered special clothing that we were gonna feature there. Our baseball jerseys, our PC Radio baseball jerseys. But things happen, and the most important thing here is your health. Now, I will say this. I got a message from somebody asking after the first half, hey, what happened to the rally? I didn't catch the first half of your show, but I'm seeing all over the place that this thing has been canceled. And, I'm not going into detail. I'm going to let the organizer, this party, if they want to come forward with what's going on, they can do that. I'm not going to put that out there. But I will say that what he said to me then was, man, I've been threatened before with, if I've had to cancel events, I've been threatened. I really hope that kind of shit doesn't happen, because let's remember who we are. We're good moral, our moral values and our compass is aligned properly. We're conservative people with good values. And I really hope that I don't hear about any of that stuff going on, because I will certainly dox the shit out of you if I find out who it is and you're making threats to these people, because I'm telling you that this is literally a life and death situation that he has to deal with. And, that's all I'm going to say about that. Also, my toenail is going to fall off. More bad news here in 2020. And about, a month ago or so, I was putting the pontoon away, and, you chalk the tires so that the pontoon boat doesn't roll away when it's in your driveway or whatever it is, right? You know about tire chalking. Well, I don't have tire chalks, so I use big cinder blocks, which is fine. It's a double axle trailer, and I, put the cinder block between the two wheels and the two axles. And I'll be damned if I wasn't in my flip-flops and dropped that cinder block, son of a bitch, right on my damn big toe, on my left big toe. And the corner of that cinder block came down and it hit me right on top of my toenail, bless you. And I'm sure it's broken. There's no question about that. But the toenail turned all black and green and purple and nasty. And I was like, man. Your toe was broken? Yeah, my toe is definitely broken. There's no question about that. My wife, who's a nurse, was like, oh, yeah, that's broken. But what do they do for a broken toe? I mean, they're going to bring you to the, what are they put you in a body cast? I don't know. I don't really need anything done for a broken toe. I will endure the pain. Last night, though, I was like, man, look at this, Marie. This thing is about to fall off, I think, and it scares me. I don't want a toenailless toe. Who wants that?
Well, will it be toenailless forever?
I don't know. I guess that's a really good question. I hadn't thought about that, but that really creeps me out.
Weird as hell, man.
It would. But just think about how much protection the nail itself provides. Think about your fingernail. Rip one of those sons of bitches. I used to do that for torture, right? And probably still do in the Chinese regime, which, by the way, you'll be bowing to if President Biden becomes a reality. That will be the people that own you, because they will own the president. Here's the thing about Trump, too, is what he was saying is that, he goes, I could go out and be one of the biggest fundraisers ever, It would be huge. It would be wonderful. I could raise billions of dollars probably in one afternoon. All I have to do is pick up the phone and call these major corporations, and it'll be wonderful and it'll be great. And I'll have the. You know why he doesn't do it? Because then he would owe somebody something.
Yeah.
They'll come off the money all day long, no problem, but he's been saying it at his recent rallies, and he's absolutely right. The reason why Washington hates him so much, and the reason why the media hates him so much, is because they can't control him because he owes nobody anything. He can't be bought. He was a billionaire coming into this thing, by the way, with a really nice lifestyle that he sacrificed for his country. To be the president as a Washington outsider, a non-politician who was the human Molotov cocktail that the voters legally threw into the system of corruption and blew the whole damn thing right up. And he's draining the swamp just like he said he was going to do. And these Washington elitist deep staters, which, by the way, I used to be a deep state conspiracy theorist denier. Oh, come on. There's no such thing as the deep state. There's no such thing as the cabal. But I'm seeing it. It's out there. It's actually happening. And look at the way that they're responding. They are relentlessly attacking this guy because he can't be bought, Richard.
I am amazed every day at the lengths to which these people are going to go to try to unseat him and to just completely destroy his whole character. And I had said it before, probably a month or so ago, that I had seen a video of Donald Trump through the years. I think it started like in the early 80s.
Yes.
Interviews of him.
His road to success or whatever it was, right?
Yeah. And how many times he had talked about how much he loves this country.
Mm-hmm.
And that, well, if I'm ever president, they're not going to like me at all because I'm not going to play their game.
Yeah. Predicted
and
the whole
that's
thing.
exactly what he's doing. And it seems like he is the biggest nightmare ever to show its face to a lot of these people on the other side.
Well, even as a Trump supporter, it's not easy. It's not easy. Are you okay, man? You're sneezing and coughing over there. Let's just go through it here. Any recent diarrhea?
Every day.
Okay. Sudden loss of taste or smell?
Absolutely.
Okay. Fantastic. Stay away from Richard. We're glad that we didn't have this. As a matter of fact, can I come over there and lick your face?
Oh, I'd love to.
I'll come over to the St. Paul studio. I'll be there momentarily. Right after the show, I'll come over there and lick your face at approximately 5:15 p.m., 17-15 hours. I want to get this thing. I just want to get it over with. As truthfully, I've probably already had it. I've not had any tests. I've had no reason to be tested. Hundreds of millions of tests are being flooded into the system now, which is what's causing our rate to go up of infection and sicknesses. It's driving the death rate down. 99.8% is the average person's survival rate on this thing. I promised before the break that I would show you something that was earth-shattering to me. Mm-hmm. And, I went back and forth about whether or not I was going to play this because, I don't want to ever force my religion on somebody else. So if you want to tune it out and you're not a Christian and you're not a God-fearing man and you don't believe in Jesus and you don't think that Jesus, saved you and all these other things, well, then, you go turn this off and go listen to Howard. But I'm going to play this here. And I just want to play a little bit of this and then we can talk about it. But if you're raising kids and if you care about their futures, this is a really tough prophecy to adopt. And I lost sleep over it. My good buddy Shelly, you know Shelly. You played softball with Shelly, and he's a great guy, Sheldon. I was texting him a little bit, and I said the same thing that I said to you when I discovered this video, which was sent to me by somebody else. I said, hey, if you can find 12 minutes, go sit down and watch this thing. And I'm not going to play the whole 12 minutes, but you guys can go find it on your own, and you know how to search YouTube and whatever. But I said that to him too, and about 13 minutes later, I got a text back from Shell, and he says, so, what do you think about that? And I'm like, raising kids, this is something. I've got my oldest son will be 9 in November. My middle boy will be 6 in November, Veterans Day. And I've got a daughter that just turned 2 in September. And so they are literally at the beginning of their lives with their whole lives in front of them. And the amount of innocence that you see when you look into their eyes is just so pure. They haven't been exposed to the toxic environment that we know as reality because we shield them and allow them to learn what's age appropriate. And I try to do a good job of articulating to my boys, because obviously Reagan isn't old enough, but Nolan and Eli, specifically Nolan, about what's kind of going on in our world. But with it being so damn scary, you kind of have to step back and ask yourself, what is age appropriate here? And listen, I'm no child psychologist, for crying out loud. I don't really know, what's going to give him nightmares. What's too much? What can I tell him about this? And why do I support President Trump, or more so even why am I against Joe Biden? Why do I swear at the TV? And why do I carry a gun everywhere I go? Because he knows that. These are the things that, we have to start talking to our kids about. And I was talking to Skasny down in Florida, our Florida PC radio contributor, and he said, it's up to men like us to raise patriots. And here we go back to this damn movie again. But look at how young they were, and they wanted to go fight for this country, knowing that there was probably little to no chance that they could survive the invasion by the British, just because of sheer numbers alone. There was just no way to survive this thing, but they were willing to do it, to sacrifice for the freedom of our country. And so being a Trump supporter is really not the easiest thing in the world to do. I mean, Jesus, we go wear a MAGA hat to the grocery store and try to get out of there without the physical threat of a fight or violence is almost unheard of. To not have some sort of a confrontation with me, I say, bring it, you son of a bitch. But, you can't do that when you're out there with your kids and your family. In an environment where you're going to be significantly outnumbered, and you may be putting the safety of your family, specifically your kids, in jeopardy, which is self-censoring, which is what Charlie Kirk would tell you is absolutely, and I agree with him, is absolutely the last thing that you should do. But how do you weigh that, Richard? How do you weigh my freedom of expression is obviously very important, and my First Amendment is under attack, so I want to show the support for the president because, damn it, it's my right to do that. But at the same time, I may be putting at risk the safety of my kids. How do you deal with that internal battle?
Well, I think that it's a very fine line, man. When you talk about at what age are our children, at what age is it appropriate for them to know what's really going on in the world? And I think that it's a balancing act, right? I mean, kids are, in my opinion, the younger they are, the more resilient they are.
Right.
But also their ability to understand and take in some of this really heavy information is also a lot lower than what it is when they become teenagers. But I mean, so you referenced the Patriot. Those kids were in their middle teen years when they went to fight for a country and a cause that really didn't want them anyway.
Right.
But it was all that they had. So how do you do it? I don't know, man. I think it's tough, and having I have 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that although we have our challenges.
Do you get concerned when Devin goes to school wearing his MAGA attire? I mean, are you concerned that there's going to be that you're just a phone call away from either he was assaulted or he beat the shit out of somebody who was bullying him or, brought him the violence and he brought it back? I mean, are you concerned about him showing his support publicly for the president in an environment that is so polarized?
To a point, I do, because he doesn't quite understand what really awaits him out in the world.
Yeah.
Should his support be super in your face? And so what I try to explain to him is that you need to be very subtle about what it is that you say, wear all the Trump stuff that you want, but don't engage in the bullshit because you're going to get it, especially at school.
Yep.
And for some reason, in suburban St. Paul, Minneapolis, there's a whole lot of effing tough guys.
Oh yeah, those Edina boys are really gonna bring it to you.
Yeah,
or so they think.
But no, he does very well at pacifying folks. I think is a good word, and then being
Diplomatic.
Diplomatic, but also being an asshole and getting his point across, which is something that you and I are probably good at.
No, I don't.
I think it just runs in his blood.
Let's take a look at Pat here, Pat Robertson, and some prophecy that he had here. Hold on to your hats, folks. This is really something.
Here goes. I want to share with you. I was praying on Sunday saying, God, please tell me how it's going to happen. And I hope I've got the word. But first of all, I want to say without question, Trump is going to win the election. And that doesn't mean you sit home and don't vote. That means you get out and do everything you can to work. But he's going to win. That's, I think, a given. But after he is sworn in and his vice president is Mike Pence, then trouble is going to happen. He's going to be challenged by the Chinese, as you couldn't believe. He'll be faced probably with some kind of a war. The North Koreans are going to have nuclear weapons. They're going to threaten us. The Russians are going to do everything they can. The Turks have got their things going. And after Trump is sworn in, we're going to see civic disobedience in America that will just be mind-boggling. The country will be torn apart. But you talk about Trump derangement syndrome, it's going to be horrible.
Man, and we're already, Richard, in a position where you look around and cities are burning, there's cities under siege. The civil unrest, the total lawlessness, the discourse, the disregard and lack of respect for authority and police and teachers. I mean, kids are throwing chairs at teachers. They're spitting on them. They're getting in fights with teachers. They're disrespecting their coaches. They're giving you the finger right in the middle of the street. If you have an American flag on your shirt, everything is racist. If you don't like something, you change the rules. If you can't win, you beat the shit out of somebody. You bring your mob, you bring your guns, you assault them, you kill them, you rape them, you extort them, you build autonomous zones. And he's talking about civil discourse and unrest like we have never seen. Let's let him continue here for a minute.
Because already, without anything happening, we've got trouble in the streets. But there will be at least 2 attempts on the president's life. And it's going to be very difficult. So I would just urge you, if you should pray for him.
Yeah, and hey, check this out, Richard. We've talked about the tipping point here quite a bit. I think bona fide, I'm going to speculate that the Secret Service has thwarted many attempts on the life of the president. But when he's saying there's going to be 2 attempts on the president's life, I'm speculating that it's going to be 2 outward and almost successful attempts. This is something that may actually get these patriots to start unraveling in this country. Do you agree?
Oh,
I was talking to
agree.
you. Yes, you're my co-host.
I thought you were going to continue the video.
Well,
yeah, I do, and I think that I thought I read some time ago that when Obama was in office, there was on average 2 or 3 on his life almost every day.
Yeah,
and I can only imagine the numbers of people that are plotting or somewhat attempting to take President Trump's life.
Well, some goofball white boy, sick nut job is in custody or was just arrested because he was orchestrating an attempt on the lives of Joe Biden and Kamala, and is now in custody. So, yeah, I mean, there are sick people everywhere. And listen, I'll tell you what, let's just listen to more of this, okay?
But now in the process that this confusion is happening in America, and it looks like our country is being torn apart, the fulfillment will take place of Ezekiel 38's prophecy. And here's what it says. It says, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say to Gog, this is what the sovereign Lord says, in that day when my people Israel are living in safety, will you not take notice of it? And you will come from your place to the far north, and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses, a great horde, a mighty army. You will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. In days to come, Gog, I will bring you against my land, that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through you before their eyes. Now, that's going to be next. You're going to have Trump win. You're going to have civic discourse. You're going to have at least 2 attempts on the life of the president. And You can just pray as to what's going to happen in relation to that. But this country is going to be torn apart.
Man, it's really for me. I'm not a biblical scholar. Pat does a really good job of breaking it down. I really like this guy, and he actually has called out the president on multiple occasions, and so. This isn't some sort of a partisan prediction here. There's been a lot of people, actually. So the same Shelley that I was talking about said that his sister told him many years ago the world would end in 2025, which kind of matches up to what Pat is saying, because as he continues, he starts going into what's really going to happen here. But civil discourse, let's talk about that for a second. There was a letter that was sent to me, and I'm going to put it on the screen here. This is a letter that was written in and has been distributed in Minneapolis. It says, "Dear neighbor, you've been identified by our group as being a Trump supporter. Your address has been added into our database as a target for when we attack should Trump not concede the election. We recommend that you check your home insurance policy and make sure that it's current and that it has adequate coverage for fire damage. You have been given fair warning. Always remember that it was you that started this civil war. Be prepared to face the severe consequences of your preemptive actions against democracy."
Wow.
And this is being distributed all around in the city of Minneapolis, allegedly, and was sent to me by a Minneapolis resident who is very concerned for her safety, and then also has been sent to me by many, many other people. You know how these things go in Facebook Messenger. Once somebody gets a hold of it, it just, boom, it's everywhere. So these are the warnings. They're already happening, and I don't know who our database really means, but I can anticipate or I can speculate that it's the racist Black Lives Matter group or the new ISIS for pussies, Antifa.
Yeah. I had not seen or heard of that. That is really something.
Yeah, it was just sent to me here this morning, so I hadn't had the opportunity.
I go back to the words that I've said before, man, and I just don't get it. I don't understand why all of a sudden we just need to, we hate everybody. We hate each other so much that we're going to threaten to burn down another person's home. Everything that they've ever worked for is probably in that house in many cases, just because of who they voted for.
Yeah.
Especially when the person that they're voting for has proven that he has done a paramount amount of things for the people in this country, especially the group of people that support him the least. I think that is just, I don't get it. I don't understand how we got here.
Well, I think there's a lot to do with our foreign adversaries, and there's no question that Russia and China meddle in our democracy every single day with propaganda that floods our social media, and they control monetarily these big corporations that then control the media and the message that is delivered of the systemic racism, of the Trump racist thing, of the attack on Latin America and the jailing and separation of families and kids, and he's a sexist, he's a bigot, and if you support him, you are too. And America is the we need to apologize for America and all this stuff. So they sow this into our community, and then our community, rather than being educated and going out and actually getting the information on their own and taking a look at real physical evidence or reaching down inside of themselves and asking themselves, how do I really feel? You can't go up to a person and ask them, why is Trump racist? And have them give you an educated example or an actual bona fide substantive answer of what has Trump done that is so racist. Nobody can tell you that. They just call him a racist. Orange man bad. And if somebody says something enough times, Richard, at some point it just becomes reality. And I'm hoping that we're not seeing a reality coming out of what Pat Robertson is saying. Let's let him continue a little bit here.
And it will be the opportunity for Erdogan and Iran to come together against Israel. And that's what Ezekiel says is going to happen.
And, we know that Iran wants to wipe Israel right off the face of the earth. So these predictions are not, outlandish. They're not far out. And I'm not going to play the rest of this for you, but there is a very dark and grim end to this thing. Go search it out. Pat Robertson, his prophecy on the re-election of Donald Trump. You can find it really pretty much everywhere. But
so let me ask you this real quick.
Let me just finish. I'm going to say this. You better get right with Jesus. That's all I got to say. Go ahead.
Do you suppose that a lot of this shit that's going on, like this letter that you just showed, is just a bunch of wolf tickets? I mean, I think that there's some validity to it, right? And of course, if you're receiving this letter, you're going to be concerned.
Are you talking about the Minneapolis letter, or are you talking about what Pat Robertson is saying as a wolf ticket?
I'm talking about the Minneapolis letter, but it's not just that. This whole narrative that, if you support Trump, you're responsible for this civil war and this revolution and this disobedience and this unrest that's going to happen. And I'm wondering if part of their plan is to scare people so much for them to come to the conclusion that, well, I really like Donald Trump, but I don't want to live like this, so I'm just not going to vote for him. And then these people don't have a reason to come for me.
Absolutely. Of course it is. Intimidation is a huge part of their plan.
Okay. So to that, I say bullshit. Stand up for what you believe in. And as we've talked about before, if you don't sacrifice something, you'll fall for anything, right? So I don't know. It's hard. It's easy for me to say, right? Because I didn't receive this letter. But I would just urge people to don't stray from the word. Don't stray from the plan.
Yeah.
The plan is to keep our country together.
Your final words of the day. We're up against a hard break here.
Oh, already?
Yes, I know. It just goes way too fast.
Okay. I wasn't prepared for my final words, but I guess they would be to keep your eyes on the prize, folks.
Yeah.
Get out and vote and be informed.
Once again, the Waldorf event at JR's Barn, the We the People rally has been canceled if you missed that earlier in the show. Best of wishes, and our prayers and thoughts are with the person who is struggling here.
Absolutely.
I just boy, that Pat Robertson thing just it throws me for a loop. Go get yourself some Law Dog coffee, okay? Law Dog Coffee, PCRadio.com. Every purchase goes to support the Wounded Blue. See you tomorrow.